Interest rates are quickly approaching 7%, and there's really no end in sight. Mr. Jerome Powell and crew even plan to continue to hike if inflation isn't put in check. So, you're a first time buyer, a move up buyer, or downsizer. What can you do? That's what I'm going to break down in this video. Let's start right now. Ladies and gents and ladies, you know who I am, Anant Deoras, AD, if you don't know, a local EXP realtor here in Chicago, and I focus on Chicago's neighborhoods and real estate through my The Chicago Life YouTube channel. And first time buyers, man, you guys have been really hit hard. I mean, they're some of my favorite clients, the first timers. You've been hit with all the multiple offers and the surging demand, and the hope was, okay, as these interest rates increase, not quickly increase, but increase, that could reduce some of the demand. And then, you can actually go after some properties with not so much urgency and you can take your time. Well, those interest rates have surged and definitely the competition has come out. So if you are that buyer, you really have to, and particularly for the first time buyers, focus on the why. 3-letter words, why. Why do you need that property? Are you going through potentially a divorce and it's something that you need to leave the current home and get another home? You want to be closer to family, you need to relocate for work, right? Look at your why, and if that why compels you, attracts you to go and move forward in the process and let's get going, there are options. You can go less than list. You can do seller credits. There's something called buy down. With the buy down program, it's either 3-in-1, which is a little more expensive, or 2-in-1 buy down. In essence, for the first 12 months after you close, your interest rate will be 2%, a 2 for this 2-in-1 example, 2% less than the going rate. So at this time right now, about 6.6%, you'd be at 4.6. And then 12 months after that, you would be 1%. So you'd be right around 5.6. Now, after that 2 years, so that basically the assumption is after those 2 years, interest rates will come down. Probably will come down quicker than that. And then you can refinance right at the going rate. Now, of course, this takes two to tango, and there involves a credit. You can pay the upfront, but that doesn't make much sense. Meaning you're saving on the interest, but then you're still paying a credit. So the credit would be assumed by the seller, the amount. Sellers are more motivated because while I have a separate video on home prices are normalizing, they're stabilizing, and they'll be more willing, right? Even less than list. To absorb that credit. So it'd be in a form of a seller credit. That's, for lack of a better term, the win-win, right? Buyer gets a more reasonable interest rate. The seller assumes the credit. Seller, while of course they'd want to get above list, we're not in that environment anymore. They have to be realistic. So it involves a conversation with that listing agent talking with that seller. If they're open, then they get a price. They can move on with their lives. They get something less than list because of course the credit will impact. We can still negotiate an even lower price, but of course, again, it takes two to tango. So the seller gets the property sold, the buyer's happy with the rate, it's a win-win. So that's one option versus just doing it straight traditional seller credits or just getting a less list. Because even with the less list price, folks, because of that increased interest rate, things offset or your monthly payment still could be high. So of course, it's also looking at what your monthly payment going to be and how much you're going to put down. So now let's talk about move up. So, as I've mentioned, just mentioned a couple seconds ago, I'll have something separate on home prices and where home prices are going to go. Make sure, folks, you are hitting that like button and commenting, of course, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you can see my next video. It's going to post after this on if home prices are going to be going down here in Chicago. So you can see that video coming up. But I appreciate all the love that you're giving me. And of course, if I haven't provided value, then of course don't subscribe. Continue to watch, search me out. I love all the support. So for my move up buyers, it's interesting. People have been talking in this video is about mortgage rates, which is the demand side, right? And demand has come down. What people are not really talking about is supply. That's the issue, the supply crunch. There hasn't been enough inventory. And one of the reasons why those move up buyers, the people that have the homeowners, I mean, they have the rates that are basically almost half, if not 60, 70% less than what current interest rates are, which I mentioned 6.6. So think about it. If you have a home and you have a 3.45 or even a 3.75, some people have, sub 3, why would you want to move out of that place? So that's the challenge. they can get their home sold, but then when they're moving into the new home with their net proceeds, they got to pay at that higher rate. So that's kind of been the challenge of what to do and why a lot of them are sitting put. But you can also do something that I just mentioned with the first time is more of make a 3-in-1 buy down. You can do that with your next home. You can, of course, sit and wait. And this is maybe the group that maybe want to wait till if you don't have that immediate need. And I know you're probably crazy. Like, oh, hey, AD, how are you even saying this? Yeah, wait 5-6 months, 5, 6, even 7, 8 months. These interest rates aren't going to continue to escalate up. And once the Fed kind of gets a handle on inflation, was hoping it's sooner rather than later, then of course they will then level set and the rates will go the other way. Again, this is just like with real estate, with life, everything is cyclical. And so if you're that move-up buyer, it may make sense versus that first timer who has been priced out for so long and may want to jump back in to sit on the sidelines. Now that could cause a pain point for you because you may need, as your family grows, maybe you have a growing family, right? But that's the trade-off you have to do. And if you do want to get into it, of course, I'm always available to help. So you can reach out, you can comment below. Now let's go talk about our downsizers, the greatest generation, right? So downsizers are active adults, right? Baby boomers, either young baby boomers or old baby boomers. You would think now they have a pretty good nest egg, so now they can probably, and a lot of them can. So, if you have the cash, the finances are in order, and you do have a nice income, you're probably taking an annuity, you're close to retiring or retiring, so you have that steady stream, right? Talk with your financial advisor. But a lot of also seniors and active adults, baby boomers, etc., have gotten hit hard with the stock market. So then you may want to wait about a year until you get some recovery. But if you've got that nice nest egg, now is the time to go because it's going to take you some time. A lot of the active adults, I know from personal experience working in Naperville, which is extremely popular, I believe it was ranked top 10 best places to live. And their active adult communities, one in particular, Carillon Club, I mean, first of all, you can't get a new construction. And any resale that comes on, they're snatched up. So if you're thinking about the suburbs, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you, get you set up on a search, targeted search if you want to be close to your children that live in the suburbs. I can suggest a couple of active adult communities. If the Carillon Club is to your interest, we have to start now because it could take months, really literally months for you to find that home to move into. Or again, because of the stock market, you can wait and kind of be similar to that move-up buyer and wait. But if you plan on going to Florida, now of course, unfortunately at this time of this taping, Ian went through, Hurricane Ian. So some of those areas may be hit hard. But Florida, the prices aren't necessarily going down either. Also downsizers, we want to look at your current home. Depending on where it's at, if you're living either in the city, one of the communities here in the city, which I service. I also service, I've mentioned Naperville, I service Plainfield, I service Aurora. I service Bolingbrook, kind of that cluster of Chicago land suburbs. Let's see your current home because there is still strong demand because of those schools out there. And if you have a home that could be very desirable and you're also willing to, maybe it's an older home, right? And so there's some negotiation that you can have with a new family or new buyers who may have a family and want their kids to go to those top schools. You may be able to still get a really good price, and then we may want to act, right, and get that home, get it set. Versus I've said in the past, if you can look, actually go up right here, I did my downsizing, and I actually recommended finding the house first, but it may end up that you may want to get that home sold first, right, and either we negotiate a lease back while we find that new home. It just kind of depends on where you're at, so don't forget about that current home. You still, because it's expected over the next 5-6 months that home prices will finally decrease. I don't have a crystal ball, but it may make sense for you to get that place on the market now and go moving into your forever home if you're retiring. Listen, hey, don't go anywhere. We are coming towards the end of the video where I've talked about interest rates. They're getting close to 7 or probably go above 7 before they eventually go down, and how it impacts first-time buyers, move-up buyers, and downsizers. I don't want you to go anywhere. Why don't you comment below if you're one of those groups, first timers, move up buyers, or downsizers, or anything outside of that, or you're an investor. I want you to comment Comment below. Let me know what you're doing, what you're thinking, what your kind of thought processes, what questions do you have about these interest rates. I know it's a little scary now, but there are creative ways. There is less competition. And of course, contact me. I've got my contact information right on the screen here. It's always below. I love to hear from you. If you're living in the Chicago or Chicagoland area or anywhere in the nation, I have referral partners. I'm happy to connect you with them. This has been 7%. It's going up, approaching 7%. Now what? I'm Anant Deoras, AD. As always, watch what YouTube recommends, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.